Hello, I'm Scott Duxbury and welcome to Nucleus195 Pro Insights. Welcome to the first in our series of shows where we bring experts from the financial world to talk about different investment vehicles and to better educate you about those products. By way of background, Nucleus195 provides investment research to retail investors and investment professionals and institutions from around the world. We have content from broker-dealers, we have content from independent research providers, and we have content from boutique research houses as well. To access any of that content, go to nucleus195.com and you can sign up for free. Now let's meet our guest for today. Today we are honoured to have Tom Shaughnessy here, founder of 51% Crypto Research, institutional quality crypto research, and a content provider on Nucleus195. Thanks for joining us today, Tom.
Thanks for having me on, Scott.
So tell me a bit of your background and how you got into crypto research.
Yeah, sure. So I started at Oppenheimer doing equity research after I graduated from business school, and I was on a cloud and communications tech team. Had a lot of fun there, learned a lot, wasn't easy, and eventually we fell down the crypto rabbit hole. We wanted to know whether or not Bitcoin, Ethereum, and others would be disruptive to the cloud providers we covered, like AWS and Microsoft, and we decided to write a lengthy blockchain white paper at the time. After that, it was all history. I left and started 51% and started pumping out institutional grade research reports on crypto. And for those who are unaware, they're all on Nucleus195.
Yeah, great. And we love having you on Nucleus195. Tell me, what type of reports do you write?
They're very deep dives in the weeds. So we're taking the protocols themselves and ripping them apart. We're looking into the white papers, everything from the crypto economics to the game theory to the governance to the team, funding, ICOs. We take every project and we do a deep dive research report on it every 2 weeks. This is everything from Bitcoin to Ethereum to MakerDAO to cryptos that people haven't even heard of yet. We try and cover the whole spectrum, but there's too much to write about.
So what are you currently working on?
I'm currently working on a report on governance. It's a lot of back and forth on who are the stakeholders in a network. So it's not just the people who purchase Bitcoin's tokens. There's also other parties, such as miners, the nodes, but there's also the token holders as well. But it's a hard subset of deciding who actually controls these networks.
Right. And the crypto market obviously has been in a bear market recently. What do you see the state of the market right now? Yeah,
crypto got crushed the last couple of months. No doubt about that. I don't think people really saw it coming. I think it took a lot of people by surprise. Bitcoin went from 20,000 to it's at 3,500 right now, so a huge drop there. Altcoins or every other coin other than Bitcoin took even worse drops. I don't think it's over. I think we have a ways to go down before people hit an inflection point and crypto starts to go up. And we've seen some of the leading companies in the space close up shop or trim their workforces. Consensus is right in Brooklyn. They're a top crypto company building on Ethereum, 50 spokes, 1,200 people. They just cut 60 or 70% of their workforce. Bitmain in China, large mining. They own a large mining pool for Bitcoin, but they also manufacture all of the mining equipment. They cut about 85% of their staff last month. So I don't think the crypto bear market's over.
So I read a report recently on TD Ameritrade and looking into RIAs and what sort of investment vehicles they're looking at right now. And on that survey was that only 15% of their clients was looking at the crypto space or even interested in the crypto space. What do you think about stats like that?
To be honest, the stat's higher than I thought it would be. I don't think that crypto's a retail-first movement. It started with hobbyists, mom-and-pop shops, stuff like that, and it hasn't bled into institutions as much as people think it has. But that's the next frontier. It's getting traditional hedge funds involved, pension funds, family offices, and getting these financial analysts to cover a lot of these securities or soon-to-be securities, hopefully. But 15% is a pretty large number to me.
Well, it's like Fidelity. If they invested 1% in crypto, it would be a massive change, right?
Yeah, 1% of hedge fund money in crypto would be multiples of the current market cap of crypto overall.
So what do you think the future holds for crypto? Do you think everyone's just interested in Bitcoin, like your general investor? Or better advised to look into other cryptos as well?
Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin's everybody's starting point. It's the entryway into crypto. It's the easiest to understand. It's the most well-known. It's been here the longest. Bitcoin's over 10 years old at this point. It didn't get mainstream adoption until the last couple of years because it was, privates shared by a lot of cypherpunks on email threads. But now that it's getting mature, people are starting to bleed into the altcoins that are doing things differently or doing things better. It's not that Bitcoin isn't good. It's just that there's certain trade-offs you have to make in crypto, and not every coin can solve every trade-off. So there's always going to be room for other coins and other investments potentially to look into here.
I mentioned Fidelity just before then, and we've seen the news already that they're moving into a crypto trading platform and custody platform. Do you see this as a positive for the industry, or do you see that there might be some risk attached to it as well? We've seen hacking incidents into custodians before. Do you think that that could be an issue for them as well?
It's definitely something that they have to keep in mind. And if they don't launch a legitimate custody offering, it'll backfire big time on them. But I think that we're far enough down the path and there's enough legitimate custody offerings and the tech is good enough that if they were to offer a custody solution, it would be big. And the reason for that is there's custody providers today that are startups like Gemini, Coinbase, DAC. They provide custody solutions. But the traditional finance people want a brand name bank to provide a custody solution for them. They want to be able to walk into Fidelity and have Fidelity custody their crypto assets for them. So I think it would be a great inflection point for the space.
So also, I think another inflection point for the space would be the Bitcoin ETF, or even just a crypto ETF of note. SEC's obviously had their issues with it as far as trading, market manipulation, and so forth. What do you think the timing could be for a Bitcoin ETF or an ETF of any of the other Bitcoins for that matter?
Yeah, I mean, I thought a crypto ETF would have been further along than it is today. It recently got delayed again. The most prominent one's the VanEck ETF, the VanEck crypto ETF. There's a lot of issues that the SEC is grappling with. You mentioned manipulation in the markets. That's one of them. Liquidity is another one. Custody is a big one. They want to make sure that the assets in the ETF are actually in the ETF and not in someone else's bank account. As for that, a crypto ETF does two main things. One, it lowers the barriers to entry for normal people to get involved in crypto. I don't have to worry about opening a wallet. I could just buy this ETF on Vanguard or Fidelity and get involved. The other thing is it would be a huge source of inflows to the crypto space. If ETFs had 1% allocation to crypto, the numbers would be big.
Yeah. So one of my partners at Nucleus195 is asking a question on the competitive level of cryptocurrencies. Like, do you see cryptocurrencies competing with the likes of Visa and MasterCard down the road, and especially on a per transaction basis? I've seen statistics in the past of, especially when Bitcoin had big volatility, that it was actually up around the sort of levels of Visa transactions. Do you see this as something that could be consistently happening down the road?
It's a great question. That's the main selling point to a lot of people that enter the space. They want to see cryptos compete with transaction providers and banks, and the first stat that they go to is transaction speed. Bitcoin does 4 transactions a second, Ethereum's at 15, EOS is at 50, arguably. That'll never compete with Visa or MasterCard as is. But I don't think that's the point of this stuff or where we are in the development of it. So, the roadmap for these cryptos is basically security on layer 1, and then as you move up the stack, to do high-speed throughput on the next layer above it. So it gets a little complex, but what you want is a secure base layer and high throughput on the second level. Are we there yet on the second level? No, we're not even close. We're 2-3 years out from having that, but it's 100% competitive to Visa and MasterCard. But the real story on the competition is the competition between cryptos and the trade-offs. And I think that that's starting to heat up a lot. And that's between not only Bitcoin, but Bitcoin versus Ethereum versus Tezos versus EOS and a lot of the smart contract platforms that we have today. So
one of the parts we're looking to do with Nucleus195 Pro Insights is have questions come from social media or directly into our platform. So I might have a couple questions that might catch you off guard here.
Fire away.
One of the questions we had come from Twitter was, what project has the most amazing potential that people are just not seeing?
Just not seeing. People in the crypto space are well aware of the better projects in the space. It's getting people aware of the good projects that aren't involved in crypto. And my only advice there is kind of like what we focus on, is let's get people interested with Bitcoin, come on your platform or whoever's to learn about it, but then delve into the other projects in the space. So our goal is to introduce people to Ethereum, Tezos, MakerDAO, 0x, tons of projects that have a lot of potential beyond Bitcoin. There's over 2,500 dApps built on Ethereum. There's over 2,000 different coins today. It goes well beyond Bitcoin.
And you feel that when you mention like names like MakerDAO, what is the catalyst that's going to be to get them more in the public limelight? When the first time you showed it to me, I didn't know what it was. I'll openly admit that. But now I know a lot more about it. Is it going to be marketing? Is it going to be more awareness, like research like yours?
Yeah, it's a great question. To get consumers involved, we need real consumer-facing applications with easy user interfaces. People don't want to have to worry about wallets or safety or using command line interfaces to vote. We need to build things that people can access right on their phone, right on their browsers, that are powered by crypto on the back end. We're currently building the back ends now. We don't have the consumer applications that are easy to use yet, but we're starting to see the trickle in of that. For instance, MakerDAO is a crypto collateralized stablecoin called DAI that people can use to transfer goods and services to pay without the volatility of Bitcoin. That's easy to use. I could send you DAI today, you could send it back. But using that to transact in a game or an app, we're not there yet.
Okay, back onto questions from the people have sent questions in. This one was from Telegram. It would be good to talk about the regulation and institutions and the potential impact to crypto and the community.
It's a great question. It's a constant argument on where we are in regulation. So over the past couple of months, the SEC took a few actions against, I believe it was EtherDelta on Ethereum, which is a centralized exchange. He had a slap on the wrist, just a payment. But the real story is whether or not the SEC will regulate all of the ICOs done on Ethereum. Companies raise billions of dollars on Ethereum through token sales. The question is, will they have to return it if these are illegal sales of securities and not actually utility tokens? If that happens, it would be obviously terrible for crypto in the space in the short term. In the long term, I welcome regulation. The space and the projects need it because teams don't know whether they're building legit projects or not. They want guidance. And we also need to get rid of all the scammers and shady stuff that's happening in the space.
And a follow-on question from the same user on Telegram. How can crypto evolve faster to help people around the world in crisis?
It's a great question. Bitcoin's being used in Venezuela when people want to pay their bills with, all the problems that they have there on a political base and a currency basis. There's key parts of the world, countries, where this makes a lot of sense. A lot of people in America don't have those struggles. They're not aware of how hard it is to get money out of a country or to pay your bills in one that's not hyperinflated where they're printing trillion-dollar bills. But Bitcoin solves a lot of problems for hardened countries that have issues.
And finally, the last one we had via LinkedIn, will stablecoins fully replace the first generation of crypto-based currencies? And exactly how stable are these coins?
It's a great question. I don't think they'll replace the first generation. They're a subset of crypto, so they're a specific use case where people don't want volatility when they're exchanging crypto. So if I send you $10 worth of Bitcoin today, it's probably not going to be worth $10 tomorrow. If I send you $10 in stablecoin, hopefully it will. The stablecoins, the largest one is Tether, has over 2 billion issued right now. That's been very stable. And then MakerDAO with DAI is a popular crypto collateralized stablecoin that has about, I think, 80 million issued right now. They've been stable so far. Okay, so I'm sure a lot of people want to know this, but what is your favorite crypto coin right now? Oh, wow, geez, good question. I have a few. I mean, if I had to pick...
You can pick a few, it's okay.
All right, good. How much time do we have? Two of my favorites would be Ethereum. Well, that would be my first favorite, would be Ethereum, just because I just get to see every day the hundreds of teams that are building Ethereum to be the future. They're building applications, they're building projects, they're building companies, they're tweaking the code. They're really out there building it, and it's just exciting and fun to watch. My second favorite one would be Decred. It's basically trying to just be a money, not trying to be a platform, but they feature a very easy governance system where if you or I own tokens, we could submit changes to the platform, use the treasury how we want if token holders agree. That's a really cool feature that is not present in other cryptocurrencies, or the bulk of them.
Okay, now I'm going to hold your feet to the fire a little bit. Where do you think Bitcoin is by the end of the year, end of 2019?
I don't think the bear market's over. I think we'll probably go lower, but I don't know if it'll inflect by the end of 2019. It may or it may not, but I don't think we're out of this bear market yet.
Okay. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks for having me on, Scott.
No problem. Just to let you all know, all Tom's reports are available on Nucleus195 system. It's free to sign up. And that is all for today. I'm Scott Duxbury, co-founder of Nucleus195. Thanks for watching Nucleus195 Pro Insights.